3, 2. Always great catching up with my next guest, Christian Rodriguez. Big fight coming up here. He's taking on Costa, Mexico City, March 29th. Doesn't get much better than this. Christian, how you doing, man?
I'm doing good. Thank you for having me.
Hey, of course. Good to talk to you. And I understand you are in Mexico for this camp. How long you been over there, and where are you training right now?
Yeah, I've been here for like 3 weeks so far already. So almost a month now.
Okay, cool. How did that all
Um,
come together with you training down there?
so I've been kind of itching to go here for a bit, but I was never like kind of pulling the plug on it. But when I found out about me potentially fighting on Mexico City, I was like, okay, yeah, let me just do it now. So I was like, I talked to my management, and yeah, we got it done. Now we're here. We've been training at the PI. The PI has a good group of team. The PI, I've been training with Lazy Boy and his team, and I've been going over to Henzo Gracie Jiu Jitsu. So I've been getting some different looks out here.
Good. Okay, well that's cool. Yeah, I was wondering about that, like where you've been training and all that and everything too. Now, I was curious when you found out about this fight because Costa just fought not that long ago on the Seattle card. Did you get the heads up you were going to be on this card before, or take me through how you even got this fight?
Yeah, I found out that week also. I
Oh,
found out
cool. Okay.
like a couple of days before that Costa fight.
Yeah.
We got an original opponent, and then something with him didn't go through, and
Okay.
then um, and then like 2 days after, we got matched up with Costa, and then we are like, yeah, let's do it. And then he
Yeah.
said,
Okay.
yeah.
Cool.
So they gave us the name of Costa, but we're like, okay, now we just gotta accept. And then I think he's really hungry to fight also, and I think he accepted like 30 minutes after I found out. And
Good
then
for
after
him,
that,
man.
yeah, after the media was already kind of like hitting me up, like, hey, I heard you're fighting this guy, this guy. I'm like, damn, how'd you guys find out about that so fast?
Yeah. Everyone's kind of on the ball with that stuff. Well, that's cool. That's super interesting. I wanted to go back quickly to your last fight. I mean, you know this already, but man, you are the guy to take a fighter's. Oh, you get the win over Austin Bashi. You've got the win now over Isaac Dalgarian, and then obviously Cameron Simon as well. Just how rewarding is that as a fighter when you're being counted out and you go in there and you defeat these undefeated guys?
At first I wasn't putting too much attention to the records. I was just kind of like, okay, it's just another guy. Because to me, it's like you can have this whole undefeated record, you'll be 30-0, but once you get in the UFC, it's a whole different
Yeah.
ballpark. So I wasn't really paying too much attention to it, but now it feels good. Just because I mean, I still look back at my losses. I'm like, damn, I learned so much from these losses, and they're still my record. But yeah, it feels good now.
Nice. Okay. Well, I was going to say a lot of momentum going into this fight, and let's talk about Costa. 22-7 record. How do you feel like stylistically you match up against him here?
Yeah, I think I match up pretty great against them. I think we both have a similar skill set. But I think I'm just a little more better in those areas. I think we both like to grapple. I feel like nobody has really seen my striking department yet. I think the only fight I showed my striking was in that Cameron fight, but it's been a while that I really got to showcase my striking. But I'm really comfortable everywhere, so I'm excited how this fight goes. I don't think Costa's the kind of guy's gonna try to shoot 17 takedowns in one fight.
Right.
So yeah, I'm excited for it.
Yeah, it's going to be a crowd pleaser for sure. I'm looking forward to it. You talked a little bit about camp. What about training partners? Who've been some of the main guys you've been working with down there?
Yeah, some of the main guys I've been training with is Lazy Boy, um, his coach Mike. I flew in a couple of my teammates here, so we've been just getting some good work. And the PI has a lot of good Mexican fighters. Also, I've been kind of sparring them,
Mhm.
and just different guys at different gyms. Just don't even know the names, but I've been getting some good work out here.
Yeah, good variety by the sounds of it. How does the PI in Mexico compare to Vegas? Is it fairly similar?
Yeah, it's fairly similar. Just there's a little. I think the PI Max was a little newer, so there's some things that it doesn't have yet. But it's definitely getting together. The whole staff is amazing. It's kind of small, not kind of small, but it's smaller than the PI in Vegas,
Mhm.
I
Okay.
think. So I feel
Yeah.
like everyone gets to know everybody, and it kind of feels like it's a team instead of like
Being like
just
a
like
warehouse, like it is pretty big, the PI in Vegas, right? So
yes. And then I feel like in Vegas, everyone. I mean, you see each other, but here in Mexico, it's like everyone knows everybody, so it's kind of cool.
yeah, it's not as cliquey as they say, right? Like having clicks, like people going in their own corners, that type of
Yeah,
thing, right?
definitely.
Like
Yeah, definitely.
it's more like that in Vegas, I would think, right? So
Yeah, it's a little more clicky in Vegas, and here it's like everyone says hi to each other. Everyone tries to get to know each other, so it's pretty cool. It feels like a team.
good. I imagine you also take advantage of the meals too down there, right? Is that what you're using for your cut, or do you have someone working on your weight cut?
Yeah, I'm working with Glenn. He's Glenn and Arturo. Arturo is here in Mexico at the PI, but I've been eating the meals at the PI. It makes so much things easier. That way, me
One less
and
thing to worry about, right? If you got your meals provided for you, it's so much better, right?
yeah, it's like one less thing I gotta worry about. I mean, it's free too. It's like, and the food tastes amazing. So I'm like, yeah, I'm like, I have no complaints with it.
That's
Whatever.
good. Is the food now? Is the food must be different, right? Or is it similar to Vegas? Or have you taken advantage of the PI food in Vegas?
Yeah, it's a little different. I think here in Mexico they kind of have they don't have the so much variety. It's just like a couple
Mm.
options, and then you could choose from there. You show your meal plan to the people serving your food, and then they'll go off that. In Vegas, they can kind of like, you can be like, I want this and this and this, and they'll make it. But yeah, the food tastes amazing. It's I don't even feel like I'm cutting weight out here.
Good. Well, that's good to hear. And what about your corner? What's that going to look like going into this fight?
Yeah, my coaches are actually here this week.
Oh,
They're
cool.
yeah, my coaches Duke Rufus and Chris Wright. They're here this week, but then they fly back on the weekend to corner my other teammates because they fight on APFC on Sunday. But then they'll be back Monday, so it's like they're gone for the weekend, but then they come back. So
That's some
yeah, I'm gonna
dedication. But I know that it's like that for a lot of coaches, right? Like if you have multiple teammates that are competing, it can be it's a bit of a juggling act, right?
yeah, it's hard for them, but they definitely want to do it, so they're here. So in my corner, I'm gonna have Duke Rufus, Chris Wright, and Scott Cushman.
Nice. Can't beat that trio. How's this fight playing out on March 29th? I think this is, I mean, I know you probably don't want fight of the night because, you don't want to take too much damage, but this looks like a really, really good fight on this card.
Yeah, I think it's a great fight for the fans. It's it's definitely a great fight for the fans of Mexico, the fans watching everywhere. We're both great strikers. We both have good grappling, so it's gonna be a really good fight. Definitely, it's gonna be one that we were gonna be like, wow, this was a really good fight.
And I got to ask too, what does it mean to fight in Mexico City? That's sort of a bucket list for a lot of people, right?
Yeah, honestly, it means everything to me. I've been embracing the whole Mexican culture here. I've just walking in the streets. I've been walking every day here. It's amazing. And my parents are also both Mexican, so seeing
Nice.
all
They
the
got to be
stuff.
happy. Are they coming to the fight?
Yeah, they are. They come fight week, and I have a lot of family here in Mexico that are driving hours to come watch me fight. So it means everything to me. It's like it's my roots. It. I get sometimes kind of emotional just walking on the street and like just thinking about it. So it means a lot to me.
You got a whole army coming by the sounds of it, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah, all my family from my dad's side, my mom's side, they're all coming to watch me fight, and it's something they've never gotten experience just through on TV. So it's definitely gonna be like one for the memories.
Wanted to ask you about a couple other fights that are coming up. Just quick thoughts on the fight. We got that big fight coming up here on UFC 314 between Patricio Pitbull coming over from Bellator fighting Yair Rodriguez. I was curious how you think that fight plays out in Pitbull's debut.
Honestly, from that whole card, that's one of my favorite fights. I think it's a really, really good fight. Um, it's a tough fight, definitely. People can't count out Pitbull. I feel like just because they think he was in Bellator means it's gonna be an easy fight, but no, Pitbull is a really legit opponent. But I think, yeah, I'm not sure. It's definitely a tough one. I think if Yair uses his range and he can get it done, but I don't know. I honestly have even before you asked me, like I was kind of watching them. I'm like, I can't pick anybody. I think it all depends who shows up. If they show up like their true versions of themselves that
Mhm.
day.
Yeah, it's going to be an interesting one. What about, I wanted to ask you about Michael Chandler and Paddy Pimblett. What do you think of that fight? Who do you give the edge to there?
I got Chandler. I think Chandler is gonna. I don't want to say expose him because like I hate when I hear that like, oh, they expose him. I'm like, this guy's a great fighter. Like you didn't expose anybody. It's just like at this level, both fighters are amazing. They're both great. It's like there's always one better fighter, but I think Chandler gets it done.
Okay. What about Volkanovski and Lopez? Who's winning the featherweight title in your division?
I think Volk wins it. I think when he fought Islam and Ilia, I think they were bad timing. No, like not taking credit away from Ilia. I think he's one of my favorite fighters. But I think that whole timeline thing kind of messed things up, and people are really cutting out. It's crazy because like sometimes you lose two fights, and people are like, "Damn, he's washed up. He's done. He's done."
Mhm.
But I have Volk. I think Volk's very experienced, very tough, and I think he pushes the gas towards in the rounds, like the later rounds. And he's very durable. You know, the people he's lost to are like one of the hardest hitting fighters in the planet. You know.
Yeah. No, no, I totally agree with that. Just a couple more quick ones here. Bilal Muhammad's fighting Jack Della Maddalena. Who do you see winning the title there?
Yeah, I got Bilal.
Yeah,
Yeah,
figured
I
as
think.
much. Well, also, I mean,
Yeah,
I do. Like, he's favored anyways. I think he probably does win that. He's
I
just
think
he looks so good in that last fight too.
honestly, me and my coach were looking. Me and my coach were looking at the rankings the other day in the welterweight division. We were talking about it yesterday. I don't think anybody's a big threat to Bilal. Like,
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see. Well, I think the one thing we got to see is Shavkat apparently was injured in that fight with Gary. So I
mm,
mean, did what was that showing how good Gary is? Was Shavkat injured? Like, I'm curious to see how that fight. I think Shavkat's the one guy I'm kind of interested in, and Ian Gary as well. Like you were talking about how fans are hard on fighters. Like I think Gary, he finds a way to win. That to his credit, and he almost won that last fight with Shavkat too. So
yeah, he almost won it. That's the thing. It's
yeah.
like people. Yeah, it's. I mean, the whole fan base is kind of. It's good
Oh,
and.
don't even get me started. I think we talked about this last interview. Like, man, the fans, it's just like it's newer fan. I think it's like post-COVID fans that are like
Yeah.
this. It's just like I don't even think they watch fights. They just pick a side and they're like, this guy, like, fighter loses a fight. Oh, they're terrible. They're, cut him, all that stuff. So,
Yeah, it's
yeah.
crazy. Like they lose one fight, they're like, He's washed." But I'm like,
Yeah.
"All right, fuck
But
it."
they don't train. Like, yeah. Anyways, that's we could do a whole show on that.
Yeah, I
There's
know.
two other fights I wanted to ask you about just quickly. They're hypothetical though, because I'm curious. You mentioned Ilia Topuria, so he's obviously left your division. He's up at 155. What do you think of him and Islam? Who do you think would win that fight if they were to fight at 155?
I, I don't want to be biased, but I think I have Ilya. I think Ilya has a really. What people don't know either is like he started off as a grappler. He has very very good grappling. I think he's just one of those guys that loves to stand and trade. But I think if he connects one with the thing with Ilya, he's so smart and patient, where he's not like just throwing big shots. Is like he's smart on when he throws his big shots. So I have Ilya winning that fight.
And then just one more I wanted to ask you about. It may or may not happen. John Jones and Tom Aspinall. How would that fight play out?
I got Jones. Jones is still, I think, one of the greatest fighters ever. I mean, what he did to Stipe, and I haven't watched too much Tom Aspinall, so I I might change my mind. So I can't really say. I think I'm just being a little biased right now.
Okay, well
But
that's fine.
yeah, but I gotta watch. But it's a definitely tough. It's a tough fight. I think Jones is kind of avoiding it for a reason. I think obviously he wants more money, but I think there's a reason why he's also trying to avoid it.
Yeah, yeah. It should hopefully it happens. I mean, I think that's one fight I think everyone wants to see. Okay, back to you. Obviously, I know featherweight's kind of a new division for you too. Like you've had a couple fights up here. Like where does a win, especially a finish, where would that sort of put you in the grand scheme of things? Because is the plan to stay at featherweight, or do you see yourself ever going back down to 135?
No, I'm staying at featherweight.
Yeah.
Featherweight is my home. I when I first started my featherweight career, I was very like yes and no, yes and no, yes and no. So I feel
Mm.
like I never really focused on building a little more muscle and other things that comes with in the weight class. But yeah, this is my home.
Yeah.
But I think a finish definitely puts me in the right position. I mean, I asked to be in UFC Mexico, and they granted my wish. So it means they're trying to push me. They're trying to, I'm on the good side. But
Yeah.
yeah, a good finish definitely puts me a little more closer to the rankings. Not as close, but we'll definitely get a little closer. Cause that's my goal this year. And this year, I want to fight for the top 15 spot.
Yeah. Well, I think it's possible. Well, I think too the timing of you moving up and stuff too. Like, there's a bit of a transition, right? We had Ilya moving up, so he's out of the division. Volk, even if he wins at 314, like how much longer is he going to fight? He's kind of getting closer to 40, and then you've got all this new blood like Diego Lopez and all these other names that are coming through here, like the Max Holloways and some of these other names. Like they're not gonna, it's sort of changed over the last couple of years, don't you think? If you kind of look at how the division's looking now.
Yeah, I was looking at the top 15 the other day. I don't think, I mean, I was looking at their ages. A lot of them are 37, 38, 36. So it's like, who knows how long they'll be longer. And I think it's a perfect time. It's like a new generation's coming in the featherweight division. Bantamweight's so stacked right now, the top 15. But I think featherweight, the top 15, it's like a lot of them are on their way out.
Yeah, and then you also have like apparently Brian Ortega might be moving up. Like there's a few things that could change in your division, so you never know. Like a couple wins in this division, you never know how things could play out because timing's a big part of this, right? Like if you're active and you're getting the right wins at the right time, you know you can get up. Look at Steve Ursig at flyweight, and not taking anything away from him, but he had like what a couple fights in the UFC and he gets a title shot just because of the timing and also like
Yeah.
you know there wasn't anyone to fight. So I'm sure
I
that's
mean,
something you're thinking of too a little bit, you know?
I mean, perfect example is Diego Lopez. I think he's been in the UFC for like 2 years,
Yeah.
2 years, and there's some fighters who take like 7, 6 years to get to the top, but Diego Lopez did it in 2 years. So props to him.
Okay, before we go, I got to ask because I watch other sports too. Who's on your Bulls jersey?
Dennis Rodman.
Oh, nice. Okay,
Yeah, I
throwback. I
love
like that. I
Rodman.
haven't seen that blue color before. That looks really cool.
Yeah, I love
Is that,
Rodman.
yeah, he was your guy. I saw him play when I was really really young,
Oh, did you?
back in the
I
day.
have
Yeah.
I have a Pistons warm up jersey too with Rodman in the back.
Oh, that's people forget he played for the Pistons. Isn't that where he started his career there and then went? I
Yeah,
think he went
he
there,
started
then San Antonio.
that's when he was like
Yeah.
super bad and like just fucking getting in fights every game. Yeah.
But he wasn't doing the whole character back then, right? Because I think it was when he went to at San Antonio he did like the dyed hair and all that stuff too. He was more like, but he was still like the bad guy, but like also like he wasn't that character though at that time. I don't think I don't remember him being like that. So
Yeah, no, he wasn't. A
yeah,
little later to his career, I feel like he got the confidence. It was just like, fuck it, I'll just do whatever the fuck I want. Yeah.
yeah. No, he's pretty interesting. Kind of like you, man. I'm looking forward to this fight. UFC Mexico
Yeah.
City. It's coming up here March 29th. Appreciate the time. Again, I know you got a busy training camp going, so appreciate you making time. If there's anyone you want to thank before we get out of here, any sponsors, any social media you want to mention, I'll give you the last word.
Yeah, I just want to say a big thank you to my family, my girlfriend for accepting me. Just packing my bags and leaving the next day. I was like, I'll see you guys later. I gotta gotta go win a fight. But them, my teammates, my coaches, it's like without them, none of this will be possible. And I can't wait to put on a show for everybody watching.
Cool. All right, man. We